Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Hey, how are you doing? This is Uncle Walter. And we just want to welcome you over for some chit chats and some laughs and some conversation and some good tea on tonight. What you up to, Manal?
You know what? I was looking at my face in the opening credits when I'm in that orange shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and them eyebrows were saying I disagree with everything that was coming out your mouth. That's what the eyebrows said. Maybe we can get a smile. I don't know. Maybe a good smile. Um, but no, right now I'm feeling good. I am tired. Like my body, my mind. I'm at a point where I need a pause. I am very tired, but I'm still excited about all the things that are coming because I've been putting in that work
That's
and not
right.
giving up and running my mouth and asking people for help and support and direction. And so I'm
Yeah,
excited about what is to come, but I'm exhausted. I need a minute.
I get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Yeah. How
And
are you?
and and I do. Well, I'm doing great. I'm just excited, like you say, about what's going on. However, I do have a bone to pick with the universe or whatever. I just wish when you put people in their place, they would just stay there and never come moseying back out of their place. But this past week, I lost my large Facebook account, and someone came moseying out of their space trying to tell me what thus saith the Lord. And I had to let them know, ma'am, we've done this already. We've done this already. If God is going to speak to me, he's not going to use you. Okay? He's definitely not going to use you to tell me anything. All right. But other than that, everything is absolutely great. It is grand. It's fantastic. It's lovely. It's all of the things.
Delightful, delicious, and lovely.
Delightful, delicious, the lovely. Manon, we have a great show planned. This is part 2 of last week's show. All the things that are good that influenced us, the good of television that influenced us. We could go for the low-hanging fruit. What do you mean low-hanging fruit? We could absolutely talk about what is harming our culture. We absolutely could. We could talk about reality TV and how most of them need to sit their ass down. We could talk about that, but we're not going to. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the good things that helped influence us and help shape us and teach us the things about life. Manal, when it comes to television, what are some good memories that just kind of come to mind when we start talking about good television?
Oh, we're gonna do this before the ass in the class?
Yeah, we're gonna do this before the ass. We'll go to the ass in the class in a minute, but this is part 2.
Want to dive in. So I think the good things, good memories. One, I really missed that there was TV that the whole family could watch. Like it didn't matter what age you were, whether you were 2 or 92, you could sit with your family members and you can watch an episode of something.
Right.
And everybody could find themselves in the cast and the show and the story. That's one of the things that I miss. Because we had a lot of family nights watching TV. And so that's one of the things that I miss. But one of the things that I took away from TV with my childhood
Mm-hmm.
was that idea that I could have and create something better than what I seen every day.
Okay.
My family unit wasn't, I'm not even gonna act like they were like the worst, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the scale of crazy that could have been happening within a home. And this is not to dismiss anyone's challenges that
Of
they had in their
course.
childhood, but I saw that there were images of better, and as
Mm-hmm.
a person who likes to reach towards Black excellence, as it was depicted in an idea, um, those shows showed me that. Like, what does that
Right.
roadmap look like? What does that mom look like? What does that what do those children interact with, and who are their friends, right? How do you
Mm-hmm.
teach and guide versus beat, right?
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
and so I learned a lot more about what family could look like.
Mm-hmm. I like that because that's one thing we fail a lot of times to mention. Even though there was Black TV and it did represent excellence, they didn't whoop a lot of ass on TV. You know, Harriet Winslow didn't crack out the belt and start whooping Eddie and Laura, which sometimes they did deserve, you know. But you know, had been my house, it would have been a whole lot of ass whooping and name calling. When I grew up, I definitely can see, yeah, it showed us that better could exist. And then it showed us that, you know, we all come from different backgrounds, but we could again all pursue a level of excellence that works for us. So yeah, big ups to Black television. I don't believe it's all gone. I do believe that there is some good television out there waiting to be released, but we've got to learn how to reject the Zeus networks of the world and the love and hip hops. We got to show them that we don't value that. Now that does have its place. I don't want to just be like horrible, 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 but that can't be the main representation of who we are as a people. And we're going to come back to that, Manal. But before we do, we're going to talk about our class versus the ass of the week. Class versus, for every class, there is an ass.
Nice.
It's got to be an ass. Now, our class of the week comes in the form of 6 homeless women who are all becoming nurses together. So they were 6 homeless sisters. They were homeless at the same time. And now they're becoming nurses together. They're graduating, and they said that it's their bond that keeps them going. This was reported by People's Magazine. I like this because it shows that we're better together. And sometimes, you know, the family that you're born into may not have your back, you
Yeah.
know, but the universe, God, people, you know, the spirit, whomever you reverence, has a way of putting people in your place that if you allow them, they will link arms with you and help you elevate to the next level. I think this is an amazing testament of sisterhood.
Yeah, for sure. I and I'll say, one, I love seeing all of this melanated skin and this natural hair. Is amazing to be
Mhm.
in People's Magazine. Um, and it's not a celebrity, right? These are everyday young
Right.
women. And so that's a beautiful thing for People's Magazine to even highlight
Yeah.
these women. Um, I know for me, I love this idea of these 6 ladies being the class of the week, because
Mhm.
it is that reminder that we do need to work together.
Mhm.
And like you said, it may not be the people that you were born with. That
Right.
they might not be your support team. They may not
Mhm.
be your cheerleaders. They may not be your guides, because you are destined to do something outside of what they know, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so it's good when you can link up with people that are like-minded, who can definitely push you, kick you in the butt when you need it,
Right.
who will also love on you and help guide you along the way. And so it's a beautiful thing. I would definitely want to see where these women are, 5-6 years from now. Uh,
Absolutely.
it'll be great.
Absolutely. I just love it, love it, love it. Big ups to you, young ladies. Absolutely. Now, for every class, there is an ass. There is. And we're not talking about the good kind, Manal.
Just
This
right.
young lady was speaking at a conference. By the way, this is a good picture of her. I do like this outfit.
I was
I'm
gonna
going
say
to say, I'm
that.
not a fan of the wig. I'm not a fan of the wig. But the outfit, she made a home run for me with that. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, she's cute. Now, she was speaking to a group of people, a group of young ladies, a group of women, if you will, and she made a statement um regarding how women should treat their husband and the reverence that they should have for their man. I don't know if you've seen this. I hope this is the first time that you've seen it. Seen
It's
it.
the first time, Walt, to give it to me.
All right. Can you go ahead and play what she said?
Right? He is almost like the God figure in our house, right? That's what the Bible says. I know it's tough to view it that way, but that's what Ephesians say, okay? So let me give you a practical way. Would you talk to God that way? And so when I started putting that practice into place, it started really, I know it gathered you. I saw you take a good breath. Yeah. Because it gathered me. But it really started to change the trajectory of the way I had conversations with him, even when it was things that I did not like. Now, when you have to watch what your man is a pattern, okay? What I mean.
Okay. Thank you. I think that was enough. This teaching is very, very, very dangerous, especially if you don't give proper qualifications to these statements. First off, this is not a statement that I would make.
Uh-huh.
When you're talking to your husband or your wife, you are not talking to God. You're talking to your equal. You are talking to your mate. You may yield to them in some areas and they may yield to you in some areas, but you are not talking to God. Now, I could get it if she was saying, be loving, as if you would be absolutely, Dr. Holt, I think she has daddy issues. I could see if she was like, be loving to him, speaking loving, but no, to say that your man rests over the home like a god, in my opinion, is putting him in a position where he can cause great, great damage to your life. I hate to be the sinister one, but everyone is human and they're subject to make mistakes. And you don't know what this person may wake up and do tomorrow. And if you have given them this type of autonomy over your life, you're going to kind of have a serious battle when it comes time to break free and be independent. I'm not saying all relationships will end, because I do believe that there are some that will last a lifetime. But for those of you who are like me, who thought it was going to last a lifetime and it didn't, you want to be able to step away and still be able to stand on your feet without having to break everything, breaking everything, including your mental and your physical capability. Manal, I'm interested to hear what you have to say as a woman about this.
Well, I like pussy, so let's just start there. This whole dynamic is problematic for me, and it's because it's generally taught like this.
Right.
And so it's an unhealthy power dynamic that is taught specifically to Black hetero couples, Black religious couples. It's a unhealthy power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So to her point, because I don't know the context that she was saying all this in. Her voice just sounded really preachy. Made me do, but I feel like there is a level of respect and reverence that you should always give one human to another.
Okay.
Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the overall situation is necessarily, but you should always give that person respect. My ex-husband, we went through a lot of shit, but he never, I never met him with disrespect, right?
Okay.
I always respected and honored him moment by moment. Now, that also may be that, like you said, in certain situations, you can't make these blanket statements because somebody is with
There we
someone
go.
who they do not need to be with.
Right.
Someone with someone who is very disrespectful to them. Someone is with someone who is abusive to them. Someone may be with an individual who is just not healthy for them to be with. And so really the advice needs to be, if you don't have the capacity to be respectful to this person and honor this person, then you need to make the decision to move on,
Absolutely.
because you should be able to have a level of respect and reverence for the person that you are with,
Absolutely.
not necessarily as the god of the home
Thank you.
or
Thank
the goddess of the home,
Thank
but
you.
as a human being in that you are in a partnership with. So if
Yes.
I can't speak to you as a partner, what the
Yeah.
hell are you doing? Right.
Right.
And so I feel like the advice that was given was, it may not have been from a bad place,
Mhm.
but this is the kind of teaching that especially women, we have to start moving away from if we're going to truly be liberated as Black women, having
Absolutely.
our own voice, having our own mind, and having equal footing in the household that we exist in and are raising kids in.
If I could just jump in here, because the word God is what took me out of the equation. It took me out of the equation because when you have someone approaching you and you don't see them as an equal, you almost have to take an unhealthy approach in order to stand up to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's why they
sorry.
bust the windows out of cars.
Even as it relates to, like, so even though they're talking about relationship, even when you're dealing with like a pastor or a minister or whatever, you still need to understand that they're human. When you put them in these demigod positions, you now have an issue where, if you have to stand up to them, it's almost like you have to overdo it in order to stand up. And a lot of times it's not just you coming against them, but you have to come against yourself in some areas, because you can now have put safeguards. You put safeguards against yourself coming up against them, like that. And maybe I'm not using the correct term when I say come up against them, but even just addressing something, And so it starts off in a bad area,
Absolutely.
because now I have to gas myself up in order to,
You're like the peasant trying to talk to the king.
and when I should just be able to come in and say, no, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it can't be anymore. And we can continue on with this. But those two things are just absolutely, those two things have to stop immediately. Like, you can't have these conversations with someone when you have put them in the position of God, because I don't care how loving when you are in a religious mindset, I don't care how loving you are, there's just some things you don't say to God. You don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When you're not a relational
Right.
person in your spiritual existence, it's
Right.
challenging to be a relational person in your natural experience with other human beings.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our class and our ass of the week. Y'all know my saying is, come on up out of them churches and don't bring none of that shit to the cookout. All right. We're gonna take just a quick peek. Just a quick peek. Lord. Now, Manal, you have to set this up because I'm in the dark.
Ooh. Okay. So I wanted them to play this specifically for you, Walter, because
Okay.
we are singing people.
Yeah.
And they may not have that. Hold up. Got it. Okay, I understand. No worries. Okay, you got to get it next week.
Okay, that's fine. I'll get that work next week. We're moving right along, moving right into the things for tonight. Last week we talked about some TV shows that help shape the goodness of our culture. And we talked about some amazing things, blended families, covering each other, in a healthy way. Not covering for someone in a, perpetuating the bullshit, but you know, covering for them while they get their stuff together is definitely something that we were talking about last week. And so this week we come with 3 more shows that had a positive impact on this week's culture. And the first show that I want to highlight today is Mo to the E to O.
We need to finish Fresh Prince, but it's fine. But I like your lead in though. That was good.
Look at me trying to be creative. Okay. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on a playground. That's where he spent most of his days.
Yeah. No, we just needed to finish this conversation because it's where we left off.
All right.
Specifically.
Okay. And you're gonna have to help me out here, girl, because you know when you get my age and you smoke weed, I don't think you're supposed to smoke weed after 30.
Well, the lies you telling, because I ain't smoking till after 50. Okay. As soon as I hit it, look. No, you're right. I'm not gonna smoke. Shrooms is the way. Okay. Anyway, but so Fresh Prince, right? So we left off talking about just the dynamic of Will Smith's mother sending him to Bel Air, one, to escape the situation that was happening in his neighborhood with old dude trying to fight him. Right. But also the bigger picture of, she sent her son. She didn't say, hey, take us both and we both gonna slide on in and move in. She sent her son with the understanding that, there were things that the family in Bel Air could give him that she could not.
Right.
So that's where we left off at.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's also unspoken that there had to be some other issues going on with moms, because over the past few years, I have had to be separated from my child involuntarily, right? And that's torture. I could not see myself willingly doing that, knowing that I would be able to provide any type of a life for my child. I could not see myself doing that voluntarily.
I mean, I've actually been that mom who did have to send my kid away from me. It was early on in his years, and it was no more than 4 months at a time, but it's happened 3 times in life. And it was because we were not stable. And and I knew that there was another family who could take him and provide for him while I was getting myself together. And it was legitimately just not having the money to provide, right? Because when you have a kid in poverty, it is challenging to figure out where your next meal is going to be, let alone you and another person, right? Or consistently pay rent somewhere. You have to live in the worst areas because of your income most times.
Right.
And so definitely understanding that that mother's desire for better, even at the expense of her own emotions and needs. Right.
Okay, I can definitely respect that. And I also respect this Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil for not rubbing it in her face. We don't see that.
Yeah.
We don't see that, So I definitely appreciate that. And I also like the bond that we see the kids develop over the years, and how they kind of took Will in, of course there was a little thing between him and Carlton, but overall they took Will in and accepted him. And I think this was, especially for our generation, I think this was indicative of a lot of our situations. I don't know about anyone else, but I grew up in a family where we took care of, or we accepted children. We had a family dynamic similar to this, is what I'll say. And we didn't always hit a home run. But like you said earlier, this showed us what could be if we put in the work, and if we weren't stuck on the stupid stuff, Yeah.
What I do appreciate though is how you start the show and you see this family living in Bel Air, and they got they're millionaires, and they got their own English butler,
Right.
and they're very privileged. And then when that privilege is challenged by Will Smith,
Mm-hmm.
they had some episodes where they were able to go back into the neighborhood that Phil and Vivian met in, and where their first apartment was, and being able to show
Yeah,
like we came from the same place you
you
did.
did.
You just
Right.
made something else out of it.
Right.
And so I appreciate that about this show, because it just wasn't this rich family that came from money and they got 5
Mm-hmm.
generations of Black wealth.
Right. Right.
Our kids are the first generation to be born into this, and
Right.
we trying to make sure that there are more generations to come. So I love that about this.
Now, one of the things I didn't like was the fact that Hillary was such an airhead.
Yeah.
That she was just such. Now, coming from a family with 6 kids, right? It's 6 of us. We got one that is a little touched, but we don't have no airhead that's just that dumb. Like,
Yeah, but see, I feel like she was the first kid, right? First kid,
uh-huh.
that was the experiment. Also, too, she was the first kid to be thrown into that world. And what do you want to do? You want to be like the Paris Hilton that lives on the
Right,
street with
right,
you,
okay.
right? And so also I feel like she's the one who really showed that assimilation into that that culture of money, right? That culture of privilege.
Okay.
She's the one that bought in the most. Carlton was in the middle, not just because he was the middle kid, but because he had a touch of reality along with understanding the values that his mom and dad were teaching. And I feel like Ashley was the one who was like, you know what? I can acknowledge all of this privilege that I have on the table, but I'm still going to find my own way as an individual.
I absolutely feel like she was the home run.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely was a home run.
Yep.
So I couldn't relate to this because my older brother is a PhD, and my older sister, the firstborns in my family are hitting a home run. They're on their shit. I couldn't relate to this because my big sister will tell you right off the top, I ain't no dumb B word. It's the words that she would use. I don't want to use that regarding her. But yeah, they definitely had it. None of my sisters are airheads like that. I wouldn't have it. All right. So I definitely like this. We got to take a commercial break. I want to ask you a question when we come back. Out of the 4 children, who could you see yourself dating? We're going to go to commercial break. Think about that, and then we're going to have this conversation when we come back. Don't forget to go support all of our sponsors here on Pyro Media. Go ahead and take us away, Kwame.
In a world filled with diversity, where radical faith and progressive believers come together, there's a place that's breaking all boundaries and embracing believers from all walks of life. Bullet and Flight Radio, where believers unite, boundaries break, and love triumphs. Step away from the chaos and noise of your daily life. Experience moments for yourself that are calm, serene, and full of peace. A necessary respite to foster growth within you, because self-care should be luxurious. Lux and Noir.
Yeah, God. And we are back. We are back. But now, before we left, we had a picture of the cast of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We were discussing the beautifulness, the luxurious beautifulness of this cast. And I asked you, out of the 4 children, who could you see yourself dating? Of course, this would be the older versions of them, because we know you wouldn't date Ashley on this picture because she's a baby.
Yeah, no, we don't do kids.
We don't do kids. Right, right.
Okay, so I feel like younger version of me would have dated Carlton.
Okay.
Honestly, because in my grooming, there was a good boy and a bad boy, and I was taught to look for the good boy. But I think even at this stage in life, I would still choose Carlton and Ashley. It would be between those two. Carlton, because I feel like he was a very sincere individual. He was very focused. Definitely would have made sure that we were set in life, right? But Ashley, I feel like she was cool. She knew herself. And we would have more experiences. And she got the parts I like more. So,
Okay. Well, won't he do it?
yeah.
Or won't she do it, rather?
Yes, she will.
All right. Uncle Kai says, a lovely black family. I'd date Will. Period. Absolutely, Uncle Kyrie. Dr. Holt says, call me Will. Okay. All right. I'm sure he would. I too.
He was a player though. We're not doing that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm sorry, I'd have to go with Will as well. The swag, the pull yourself up by the bootstraps, I would be okay with it, as long as he wasn't closeted or he wasn't on the down low. Now, if he on the down low, then I'm going with Carlton. But and if he's in the closet, I'm going with Carlton. I don't have time for that. But if he's open and willing, then I'm definitely willing and able. All right. Last week, did we talk about living single? We are living single.
Yeah.
I kind of like the way. Well, Carlton is dead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, last week we brought up a few shows, but one show we left out from the 90s that was a hit. It was a hit and I loved it. It was hold on, Uncle Kai said, well, Carlton is dead. I absolutely agree with you that Living Single was the one of the best.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still Cosby's a different world,
That was one of the best sitcoms of the 90s. I'm absolutely there with you, Uncle Kai. But we didn't talk about Family Matters. Now, there was a debate on the internet here recently. By the way, look at all that beautiful chocolate. Can we just take a minute and enjoy the diversity? Now, see, this is what I like, especially even in real life Black families. Look at the diversity of beauty that exists within that's the one reason why I loved this show, right? It's just all the beautiful chocolateness in this family. I love it. Now.
True.
Now. By the way, Manal is saying true to my Uncle Kai. He made a comment. He says, I count the Cosbys as the best show of the 80s because they did debut in the 80s. It did debut in the 80s. All right. Hold on. We're going to get into that, Dr. Holt. Wait. Okay. So this show, there was a debate on the internet that said that Carl Winslow was not a good father.
Like in real life?
No, on the show.
Really?
Yeah, they're saying he was one of the worst TV dads in Black television history. And now, I didn't really dig into that because I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with this. I think Carl Winslow, in my opinion, was a pretty dope father. I think he was a pretty dope father. Did he make mistakes? Yes. And this is why I loved the show. As an adult, I love the show. I remember the show where Edward is caught speeding, or he gets an unjust speeding ticket, or he gets pulled over and harassed by the police. I forgot the exact situation. But Carl kind of shuts him down. And Carl shuts him down, and he puts him in his place, and then later on finds out he was wrong. So he comes back to his son and he apologizes. Now I could appreciate that, especially because in my household, adults wasn't wrong, and they showed up didn't apologize. You get your behind over there and stay in a child's place, and don't make me have to work so hard to prove my point next time, and I won't make the mistake I made. Hold on. So they're asking if Carl Winslow was gay in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't sure. I wasn't able to confirm that. I did look up into that a few years ago. I wasn't able to confirm, but okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Life. But like, okay, so my thing about him being the worst dad, I don't agree with that. I think there are we have to look at the dynamics of their family. They were a blue collar family, allegedly. They were a blue collar family. And so what comes with that is a lot of stress that comes with a lot of paying attention to what they did, like the finances, and how they were utilized, managing more of the details of the kids because they had to be representations of them. Like I saw more of that in comparison to like a Fresh Prince, right? Fresh Prince, they kind of got to just be whoever they wanted to be for the most part until actually decided to play drums instead of violin, right? But for the most part, the differences are Carl and Harriet, they had an idea of what they were shaping their kids to be, and they constantly, spoke those things and were shaping their kids because they were a blue collar family.
Right.
Every choice matters, and every choice has a consequence, and we can bail you out, right? Which is different than than Fresh Prince. And so, like, I saw a typical blue collar, everyday Black father who actually was trying to make conscious choices about his behavior. He communicated, tried to communicate his feelings all the time, which is huge. What I loved is his mother. I love how his mother did not hold back. She didn't hold back. She didn't hold her son. She was freaky, and she was open with her freakiness, So again, this is another one of those shows where like the whole family could sit down and watch it.
Absolutely.
And could see a better way to make choices and exist all together. And they even took in some kids. They took in 3J when Steve Urkel's family didn't want him. He moved in with the Winslows, and as much as he destroyed their home, Carl understood that he was his surrogate father. And so like there's so much in this show that was I would never say Carl was the worst father. I think he was doing the best with what he had.
Absolutely. I think this it represented another dynamic of the Black life, the realistic Black life in America, because it's not all. When you talk to some people, they think we all either pushing drugs, avoiding drugs, prostituting, or avoiding. Like when you watch some of this stuff, I'll be like, oh my God, this is why when the orange fella was running for office, all he kept saying was, I'm going to get you better jobs. I'm going to get you better schools. I'm like, I got a job. And the school I go to is not that shabby. So and I do realize that it's some privilege, to me being in California and me being who I am and where I am. But at the end of the day, I like the fact that this was just another dynamic of the Black family experience that we have here. So they're getting into it in this conversation. Can I get to these comments real quick? Can I get to the comments? All right. So now so about the whole Carl Winslow being gay. Our producer looked it up, and it is rumored, but it has not been confirmed.
Allegedly.
So it's still allegedly, it's still alleged that he is gay. It's not confirmed, and it's not his business. He doesn't have to tell us. That's not our business. Sorry, he doesn't have to tell us if he's gay or straight. I enjoy his art. He's still acting. I know that much. Yeah, he's still acting. The last thing I saw him in, Lord, what did I see that man in? I was gonna say Will and Grace, but that was a long time
Whoa.
Oh. Anyway, he is still acting. Um, um, and so we know that much. And then absolutely Uncle Kai. It is alleged that my Uncle Kyrie is gay. And they're trying to say that I'm gay, but a lot of people think I'm gay, but I'm not gay because I hang around a lot of gay people, but I'm not gay. Oh, okay. All right. Since you're gonna press me, Kwame, I guess I'll come out the closet. For a while now, I have been struggling with my sexuality. I haven't been doing anything. I've just been struggling with it. And on tonight, I just want to come, clean and tell everybody that I am homosexual. I'm homosexual.
What? No.
Oh my God. By the way, that is a good picture of her.
It is phenomenal.
Now, the thing I like about this show is we kind of get to see Edward Winslow. We get to see him grow into, like you said, a good, a well-rounded young Black man without a lot of toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's able to coexist with the likes of Steve Urkel. He's able to coexist with his sister, and he's able to coexist, with the whole family dynamic without being toxic. And he, by every right, he could have been, because on the set, he was in the family, that this dynamic on screen, he was that dude. He was the jock. He was, the manly man. He could have been very toxic and misogynistic, but they did not exhibit those traits in him. And I want to thank the producers, but I also want to thank you, Edward. What's his name in real life?
I argue with you though. I'm arguing with you.
Let's go.
He was running girls. He had a different girl every day of the week.
That makes him misogynist. That means he says, I value what you can do.
That's where you gonna go with this? No.
That's what. No. I value all that you bring to the table. Therefore, I will not limit you by making you stay here. No. I'm going to loose you and let you go. Hallelujah.
No. But what I do appreciate, though, is that even though the men have their voices, so did the women. Absolutely. On the show. You saw all of these women be very powerful, vocal individuals.
Absolutely.
Even Myra, the one who plays Steve Urkel's girlfriend, she was trying to drive their sexual relationship, and Steve was like, "Hold up," and she was throwing it at him, And so to see a young girl to be sexually free on TV is huge.
Free but not a hoe.
Free but not a hoe. She was only trying to throw it at Steve, and that was it. That was it. But you also saw how Eddie, when he did get older and he found that one girl who was not playing no games with him, who was helping
Myrtle.
No, not Myrtle. Not Myrtle.
Not Myrtle. He did fall in love with her though.
He did not fall in love with Myrtle.
He did. Go back and watch it. He fell in love with her. He said, at your best, you are light. No?
No.
Okay. All right.
I disagree. But to Kwame's point, we do need to move on. Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
I just want to say thank you. Out of this whole cast, who would you have dated? The children.
Out of this whole cast, who would I have dated? Stefan.
Okay. For me, it would still be a hard Edward Winslow. Yeah, a hard Edward Winslow. Once he was no longer hard, I would send him back. Could swap him out for somebody else. All right. All right. The last show we have is Mo to the E to the. Now we realizing what. Woo!
Now
Talk
this
about
was a daddy I couldn't
sexy.
stand.
You said what?
I couldn't stand this daddy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
But can we say this whole cast is sexy though? It's
They
muy,
are.
muy
It was
caliente.
a good looking
It's
cat.
sexy. All right. Let's dive right in. Why couldn't you stand this dad?
I felt like he was more overprotective than what he needed to be. Like he did not know
Mm,
his daughter.
okay. Okay.
He was more focused in on his personal vision for her, and that he did not take the time to get to know her. And so the moments when he could have been more effective,
Mm,
he missed
mhm.
those opportunities because he didn't know her. He couldn't relate.
But didn't Dee kind of help him balance that out?
I think she tried, but one, she was the bonus mom.
Mm,
And so her voice wasn't really as strong and as powerful as it could have been, because she was initially there for him, right?
right,
And
right,
so
right.
as the show grew, you could see how she was developing more of a relationship with Mo and Miles. But even Mo and Miles, well, Miles was open to her, but Mo wasn't open to her. So you
Right.
brought this woman in, you married this woman before your family was truly bridged. And so
Hmm.
the effect that Dee could have had in helping the bridge, it took longer. It took longer.
So, oh, wait. Y'all giving me issues here. I have Uncle Kyrie saying Frank was a mess.
Yeah.
How y'all gonna have to help me out? How was he a mess? I thought he was there. He was present.
What? I mean,
He was there for the children. He worked. You know, all right. There ain't too much more I can say. I'm trying to think of some shit.
no,
So as you laid things out, I definitely did see that there was a
he was
distance
very
there.
overbearing.
And sometimes, oh my God, Kwame, a hot mess. Can we just say he wasn't the best? I mean,
No.
because as a father, now I have, even though my child is only 14, okay, I have had to learn that this is her life, not my life I'm allowing her to live, right? There is a difference. So there's going to be things she wants to do. There's going to be things that I don't approve of. There's going to be things that she's doing that I would not necessarily do. But I have to give her the tools to properly Now, I'm not just saying we just sit back and watch a whole bunch of dumb shit. Now, I want to give that qualification. But sometimes I've had to, even with my nephews and nieces that I raised, you sit back and just give them the tools and say, okay, figure it out. Okay. Now, if you need me, I'm here and I got you. But until then, just go ahead on and figure it out, boo. And I didn't see a lot of that with, like you said, Frank. He was definitely overbearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Uncle Kyrie Sanaj, Candid Conversations says Frank was there, but he also had his secrets.
Yeah.
And he was way too hard on Moesha. Absolutely, absolutely. And parents, it's okay to have skeletons that you may not want to bring out the closet right now, right? But you can't walk around on a high horse as if those things don't exist.
But you also cannot make your skeletons your kids' burdens by the way you parent them, right?
Right.
And
Right.
oftentimes that's what he did because he didn't want his kids to make the same mistakes that he hadn't really healed from. And so he parented them in such a way where he didn't even give them the room to find themselves and make their own mistakes. And Frank needed therapy. He needed therapy before he got remarried, but
Okay. But it was too late because we start the show off and D is there.
Mm-hmm.
D is there. Now, how about the camaraderie between these young people, these beautiful young people on screen? You have Moesha, you have Q, you have what is that guy's name? Hakeem. You
Mhm.
got, oh my God, I forgot the
Kim,
chick's name.
Kim and
You have
Nikki.
Kim and Niecy. There we go. And then you have Miles, of course.
Mhm.
How did you like that dynamic? I personally loved it.
I didn't like her friends. I thought Kim was a fake friend who needed to be dropped probably after the first couple of episodes. She was always betraying her. She was always telling her business. She was always trying to come up on Mo's whatever she had, whether it was her car, her money, her clothes, whatever it was. She was always trying to come up. Kim would not have been my friend if I was Moesha. That's a no.
Okay.
Niecy was cool. She didn't really have her own identity until they got much older. Yeah, no, Kim was always telling Moesha's business. Nah. I
Well,
can't trust.
I feel like we all have that friend that we love, but they talk a little too much. So we have to be careful what we share with them. Because so I love the hell out of my mama. And I know my mama love me, but it's some things I can't tell my mama because my mama is gonna go tell my brothers and my aunts and everybody, and then she gonna swear them to secrecy, and then everybody gonna know my business that I didn't want them to know because my mama. Mm-hmm. You just gotta realize who you can and who you can't talk to. I felt like Kim was.
She was the fun friend.
She was definitely the fun friend.
The loyal friend. Hakeem was the loyal friend.
Didn't they smash?
Once they got into the later seasons, they did date.
Oh, okay.
They fell in love.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I wanted Hakeem to go over to the Parkers and marry Kim.
You said you wanted Hakeem to go to the Parkers
and marry Kim. I thought him and Kim was the perfect couple.
What? They never dated. Hakeem didn't want Kim.
Yes, he did. At a certain point, he was on her cheeks.
No.
Yes, and then she was like, "Ew."
We didn't watch the same Moesha. I don't remember this.
Did it happen on the Parkers or was this Moesha?
I'm gonna need seasons and episodes.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely look it up, and then when I bring it back, then we'll definitely continue deeper into that. Now, the dynamic here, I like how they have the parents at the home, but the sister that owned the
D.
What was her name?
D.
Not D. D is the mom, right?
Oh, sorry, not D. What's her name?
Annetta? No. Brain fart. I thought Hakeem. Yes, Uncle Kai. Him and Hakeem do make the perfect couple. Adele. There we go. I thought Adele was a perfect surrogate when the parents were not around. And I have to say that I think sometimes parents have to accept the fact that sometimes when you're not around your children, now I don't believe everybody in the village need to be over your children because you don't know everybody in the village. But I absolutely do believe that you need people in the village that's going to some degree, hold up your standards and hold some confidence for your children.
Both
when they are around. Any final thoughts tonight, Manal?
Out of this cast, who I would be the most interested in, it would definitely be what was her name again? I forgot. Adele. What?
Adele. Okay.
Antoinette. I don't know why I want to call her Antoinette. But Adele. She would be the person that I would be with. She's thick. She's a businesswoman. She's focused. She was a community-minded individual, and she was Afrocentric in all the right ways.
Okay. For me, it would be a toss-up. Young Frank is cute. Frank now, I don't know about that. But definitely Hakeem in all seasons, in all areas, and in all spaces of life. Hakeem. So, when him and Uncle Kyrie got into it, he would always have a place to come in. Lay his head on my pillow. That's right, Uncle Kyrie. I was, what was it, the barber to your Shirley. All right. So anyway, we definitely, I am with even with all the issues, I did enjoy this representation
Yeah.
on television. I
Yeah.
absolutely did. So we wanted to take these past 2 weeks and we wanted to just go over some things that represented us well in television. A lot of times these don't get a lot of shine because we're so focused on the negative. Once again, if we want that to change, you and I have the responsibility of supporting good television that represents us well. We can't get mad if they only produce the Love and the Hip Hops and the Baddies West and the Baddies, because that's all we support. But we have to take our dollars, our cents, our coins, and we have to put it behind shows that depict us in a positive light. Any final thoughts, Manon, before we bid farewell?
Yeah, man. If anybody that is listening to this, if you are a creative individual and you are wanting to put your hands to the work, do it. Don't stop. You never know where you're going to find the support,
Right.
who's going to fund you. You never
Right.
know how your ideas will inspire other ideas. And just don't stop, because we need more work that is going to be
Absolutely.
inspirational, move us forward. And a lot of the shit that these young people is dropping, we're going to have to spend a lot of time trying to undo. So just don't give up on your gifts. Continue to invest in yourself, and take some time. If you are working a 9 to 5 or whatever you got going on, take some time for your creativity to flow. Take some time, because we need your work.
Absolutely. So we definitely want to thank you all for tuning in on today. We will be back next week with another episode of the Walt Bay Connection. Get ready, get ready, get ready, because we're getting ready to go off the air. Stay tuned to Pyro Media. I'm sure something fantastic is going to be coming up next. And until next time, thank you so much for tuning in.